This review is sponsored by Fruity Systems.
Released November 2nd, 2023 for MetaQuest 2, 3, and Pro, and PCVR by UK-based developer and publisher Fruity Systems. Put your VR headset on and get ready to don the role of a glorified garbage collector as a new employee at the Space Salvage Corporation. Back in January 2022, I did a preview video on the demo for this one. It got its hooks in me then, piqued my interest, and now nearly 2 years later, Fruity System proves that patience is indeed a virtue. Space Salvage is here and has lived up to my self-induced hype. Thanks to Fruity Systems for the review key. Watch Season 11 of the Lab Video Game TV, the TV series on Flow One, premiering January 10th, 2024. Download the official Flow Sports app to watch us on Flow on the go in 25 countries across the Caribbean. Visit the website at thelabvideogametv.com. Reach out at contact@thelabvideogametv.com. Now, let's see if my new role at SSC is all it's cracked up to be.
It allows us to place you at the lowest entry-level position with nowhere to go except up.
There was always a bit of mystery leading up to the release of Space Salvage. Even though I previewed the demo, I never really knew what this game was gonna be. A roguelike, an RPG, a space exploration game with minimal action? I could never quite put my finger on it, even though I've been following its steady progress for about 2 years. And even after starting up the actual release, I still wasn't sure.
The cargo and collect it. I'm sure even you can manage that, 114.
There is somewhat of an introduction, but it wasn't like some epic story reveal preparing me for what's to come. This is a slow burn, which adds a realistic, believable vibe that creates this almost organic immersion.
Welcome, new employee.
You begin with a message from your new employer, basically letting you know you have signed your soul away for a life of servitude. With a 160-hour work week, you quickly surmise, in the very distant future, slavery is still alive and well.
My data indicates that exposure to isotropic decay can result in abstract mutation.
But other than this comedic yet grim intro, the story seemed non-existent at first. You're tossed into training and off to work you go.
Listen, I need your help.
The story eventually starts to flesh out, with some oh moments, but what got me is the way the story is approached. It feels kinda non-linear, for lack of a better word. It's not a do as you want, when you want kind of thing, but it still feels real and relatable.
Hello? Ah, great. You're finally here.
You're presented with your salvage runs, which is your job, and while executing your duties, what the devs call story missions will pop up. But the way it feels to me is that these salvage missions and story missions are all a part of the main story. That's how it would be in a real-life scenario. You're going about your business, doing your thing, then some more unexpected things happen, and I like this. The salvage missions didn't feel like filler, or padding, or side content. They felt relevant. You also have to complete these missions to purchase upgrades in order to proceed and unlock more missions, so it all ties in nicely.
Space Salvage Corpo, what? I think you mean SAG. That's right, there's no time for living in the past. Out with the old and in with the new.
In the sound department, we've got really well composed music, fitting for this world, good sound effects, and some solid B-grade voice acting.
Hi there, it's Slid Whistler. So, we've been leasing this lavish motel out in the sticks, which seems to have fallen into a small amount of disrepair.
The actors were clearly directed to go a bit overboard in the realms of melodrama to fit the overall 80s cartoon aesthetic, and they did it competently.
We'd usually go internal, but this requires a little more discretion.
The visuals here work. Like I said, the devs were going for a back-in-the-day cartoon comic book-like cel-shaded art style. But one thing you will notice is that the visuals aren't grand by any stretch. Particularly if you're playing on PC. Space Salvage was designed for the Quest platform, with PCVR being secondary. I could even go as far as saying PCVR was an afterthought. First, you'll notice the visuals look like quest visuals. Then you'll notice, and this is perhaps the first I've seen this in a PC game, there are no graphic options, none whatsoever, not even the bare minimum. So us PCVR players got a straight port with 0 enhancements. A bit of a shame really, as when given the opportunity to grab a game available on multiple platforms, I go PCVR first for the upgraded visuals. But I'll live with this. Maybe the devs will revisit the PCVR version sometime down the line. Let's head into gameplay. On startup, we've got little in the way of options, but enough to get us going. We've got sound levels, gameplay options, which has a noticeable addition post-launch. One of the mechanics that grabbed me when I played the demo were the controls. To many, it was perhaps nothing noteworthy, but this was probably the first time using VR motion controls only for a flight sim of any kind, and man did it feel odd. But when I got just a bit acclimated, it felt so rewarding. And this was the demo, which I really wasn't even that good in. My point is, clearly many other players found these controls awkward and counterintuitive, so Fruity Systems added an option to use the thumbsticks only for movement. I tried it. It does feel a bit easier, but hinders immersion and is so much less rewarding. Kinda like training wheels. I quickly reverted to the way the devs intended, motion controls only. And at this point, I'm actually proud of myself. I'm zipping all over these environments with complete confidence and ease. Still, for those who are having a rough time with the controls, I'd give Fruity Systems a bit of advice. Add one more control option. A hybrid, where players can use both motion controls and the sticks. Move the pod with motion controls and the weapon and gravity beam with the sticks. Maybe even a fourth HOTAS option. There are several other buttons that will be activated on the panel as you progress, and to map these to a HOTAS along with the flight controls could also be a plus. Food for thought.
Which will you choose?
What's left in options is a controls layout and localization. Like I said, absolutely nothing in the visuals department, not even gamma controls. So pretty bare bones in the settings menu, but still functional.
Congratulations, 114! All job requirements have been met. Please return home when ready.
Space Salvage is a patient man's game. Patience with a slow burn story and patience to learn the mechanics, particularly the controls. Your patience will be rewarded should you stick it out though. Space Salvage at first glance may come across as arcadey due to the cartoon aesthetics and humor, but it isn't. An hour in and you'll realize you're dealing with sim mechanics. The loop here is, receive instructions in the hub area, where you're seated by a monitor receiving mission briefs. Complete standard salvage missions to unlock upgrades, earn cash, level up, unlock new missions, including story progression missions, reveal more of the story and have your aha moments. When you reach to a point where you must choose sides, pick a faction of sorts, to join up with and aid their cause, be it power, money, or freedom.
You choose to fight for freedom, and we be damn glad to have you.
You'll experience what the devs were really up to with this one. Because truth be told, and I may have been alluding to this the whole time, Space Salvage is one generally vague game. Not just its genre or story, but even its mechanics and gameplay. Although you're given a good tutorial at the start, which gets you acclimated with the ship's handling and initial functions, and will also teach you how to use a new addition or two. As the game opens up, it lets go off your hand, and gives you a sink or swim, figure it out yourself vibe, which I do like. Everything isn't highlighted and spelled out for you the entire way through. After you've upgraded your pod, get used to the controls, whichever one you choose, it'll all begin to come together nicely. Just be patient and diligent. Space Salvage is very balanced. I was never thrown into a scenario that felt unfair, for lack of a less juvenile word.
Hull integrity below. Hull integrity critical.
You can stick to the main story, going through missions, unlocking more, pressing forward on a linear path, or you can engage in either race challenges or combat challenges. Sticking with the whole cold, calculated corporate greed feel, pretty much everything you do to progress here has a price tag on it. Even getting promoted, you can't simply depend on the sweat of your brow. After working for a promotion, you're then presented with an invoice. Yeah, you gotta pay to be promoted. So there will be times where you may have to grind a bit to earn more cash. Not an arduous grind, but a small grind nonetheless.
Tower data light collection complete. Well done! I'm sure all of that interpersonal financial data will be handled carefully and ethically.
You can replay previous missions or take part in the challenges. I found a few technical issues. There was this glitch. When a drone fired a rocket at me, after dispatching said drone, the rocket seemed stuck to my pod. Then there were times when I grabbed the flight controls and my hand seemed to just clip through them, irritating in a heated situation.
Integrity below 20%.
Then I found I had to be resetting my view a lot. Sometimes my head would be detached from my body. And while this isn't a glitch or a technical issue, more personal preference, I would have liked if my weapons fire looked different. Not just this beam. I would have wanted a bit more effort put into the visual representation of my projectiles. But that was clearly a creative choice by the devs. Other than that, Space Salvage is a win. 2 thumbs up. We've got a VR game that builds and rewards patient players with the most pleasant gaming experience. Space Salvage is not a generally difficult game either. It'll only feel that way if you're not used to controls like these or you're not familiar with the genre. But if you've played games like Star Wars Squadron, the Warplanes series, while not identical in mechanics, you should still feel close enough to home here. Check out the Lab Video Game TV The TV series on Flow One in 25 countries across the Caribbean. Only on Flow One. Season 11 premieres January 10th, 2024. Download the official Flow Sports app to watch us on Flow, on the go. Visit the website at thelabvideogametv.com and reach out to us at contact@thelabvideogametv.com. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications and all that good stuff. Let's say on the other hand, I found a way to piss you off with this one though. Then hey, do what you gotta do. Dislike, unsub, leave a strongly worded diatribe in the comments section voicing your displeasure. Whatever it takes to make you feel vindicated, partner. Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.
And that'll do it. Mission accomplished.